Oh, I'm sorry. Did I break your concentration?
Somewhere between science and superstition.
We have such sights to show you.
Strange Eons. Welcome to Strange Eons Radio. That's Eric over there.
Hello.
That is Vanessa over there.
Hello.
And I am Kelly. Eric is taking off, but he had some stuff he was going to be telling us.
After these messages, I'll be right
as we're doing
back.
this on camera.
As the new camera sets up, I will be occasionally disappearing because, we don't have a camera operator.
Yeah, I need to make sure it's still recording
That's right.
and, it's getting video and audio.
Right. I'm still not loving this, but I'm going to get used to it.
That's right.
It's weird that we all wore the same thing that we wore last week, viewers.
I haven't even washed mine.
I just
Me
wore
neither.
it for 7 days.
Rolling through.
Leapt.
Eric, we shot a film last year, and we've got that film in a film festival.
That's right. Yes. The glorious Bone Bat Comedy of Horrors Film Festival will be world premiering our truly bizarre short film, The Connoisseur.
So fantastic.
Which we all worked on here.
Yes.
It is a Strange Eons radio production, pretty much. Carlos helped us with this. Wade helped us with this.
Steve Holitz.
Steve Holitz.
The guy who runs Bone Bat. But he
That's
told me
not
he
a
did not
conflict
review
of interest.
he did not review it. He left it to the other Bone Bat guy.
Oh, that's really nice.
Approve
cool.
or disprove.
Oh,
Very cool. Yeah, everybody who we know basically helped us out making this show.
Yeah.
So
It's very great. Stefan, big shout out to Stefan
yeah.
and his
Stefan did a great job.
amazing camera operating talent.
yeah,
Just
that guy.
ridiculous.
I don't know why he continues to work with us, but I thank the Lord for it.
Yes, he is great.
And then to get things started, Vanessa, you were asked to watch a movie specifically.
That's true. Yes. So one of our donors decided to prompt me with a film to check out, which is exciting because I so rarely get this opportunity. You guys get them all the time, but now it's my turn. So thank you so much to Micah for your generous donation.
Thank you, Micah.
Yes, thank you.
And he asked me to check out a weird movie called Chompy and the Girls. It's a
Is it an adult film?
I had a lot of questions before I watched it, and those were answered very quickly.
Oh, okay.
It's a 2021 movie. You can check it out on Tubi. This had a Rotten Tomatoes score of 83% from audience, and it's a pretty unknown film, so nothing else. Budget, I had to go onto an interview from like a local newspaper to find the budget.
Oh, wow.
Where I finally found one where somebody was talking to the producer. It was $100,000, 30K of which came from crowd fundraising just to get the special effects up to snuff.
Do we need to set a 10-minute timer limit here for you?
I'm gonna be pretty quick. All right. Jeez Louise. But the box office was actually only $500, but it did get streaming deals.
Nice.
Written and directed by Sky Bradband, starring a bunch of people who are not known for anything except for Udo Kier, who is the voice of Chompy. Had Christy St. John in it, and I kept watching this movie being like, man, this chick is awesome, and seems so familiar. I must have seen her in 100 things. Nope, have not seen her in anything, but she has a really similar Haley Stanfield vibe to her. The story is basically, there's a quote I found that's a movie about family loneliness and a man with a 4-foot mouth.
That pause was probably unfortunate there.
You know what they say about a man with a big mouth.
Big teeth. Basically it's a young drug addicted woman. She's about to kill herself when she decides instead to contact her father, who has no idea she exists. they meet at a park where they both witness a man grow his mouth into an enormous size and swallow a girl whole and start to walk towards them. They then take off, and the film breaks into this really strange set of occurrences following the kind of whirlwind spirit that is Jackson, and her father just kind of gets sucked along for the ride. They go to parties, they go to diners, and they end up battling cloned little girls. They go inside the mouth of Chompy at one point into a strange dimension. This is a fucking weird movie, but it's a risky movie. And I think that it's fast paced. It's weird, but fun. The budget is tough. I mean, it shows its budget, but the actors are weirdly good for unknowns. So I enjoyed it quite a bit. Kind of cool. I don't know. Check it out on Tubi if you want to watch something very strange. If you really want to have a ride, I would get really stoned ahead of time, and you will. I already had no idea what was happening. You will really not have any idea what's happening. But yeah.
Bottom line, you liked it then?
Yeah. Bottom line, I liked it. I think it was. I was worried from the title. And I was very grateful as I watched it that it was not as worrying. And I really enjoyed Christy St. John, which is the actress in it. She was a lot of fun. So yeah, I don't know.
I will agree with you that Chompy and the Girls is a bad title.
Bad title. And it's not even it's ampersand.
Oh.
Like, so if you're looking it up online or if you're trying to find it on, I don't know, Tubi, and you don't use, if you type in the word and, you might not get this movie.
You know, you guys want to hear something nerdy?
Yeah.
Oh, of course.
If you're watching a movie and you see written by somebody, ampersand somebody,
Yeah.
that means they're a writing team.
Oh.
And if you see written by somebody and the word and, that means another writer came in after that writer.
Oh.
Fancy.
That's really fun.
There you go.
The more you know.
Okay, well, I'm not sure if I'll put this on my own list, but I'm glad that you watched it.
Totally fair. That is exactly how you should feel about this.
All right. Shall we talk about our regular stuff that we talked about?
Yeah.
I saw a movie. You know what? I went back and rewatched a movie, and I don't know exactly why, but I was really pleased that I did. And it's called Life with Ryan Reynolds and
this is like the weird little space.
yes,
Okay.
the International Space Station. They have picked up something from Mars, and it is this tiny little speck that they are able to see, oh, this is actually a single cell amoeba or something like that. And then it, of course, goes completely wrong, starts growing and killing them all one by one.
Yeah.
And the Jake Gyllenhaal is the other lead in it.
Mhm.
And spoiler, Ryan Reynolds he's the first one to die. So
No good.
Short life.
yeah, but it is a really solid little alien horror flick.
I remember watching it and not thinking it was great, but maybe I should rewatch it.
I had a really good time with it this time, and but I think I remember liking it the first time, which is why I decided to watch it again. So if you didn't like it, I imagine there's probably stuff in there that you're not going to change your mind about.
You never know.
I thought it was great, and it's on Prime, I think, so it was free. And yeah, Life.
Nice. Well, I've been kind of in a sci-fi kick recently, watching quite a few different things. So I saw a film that's been on my list for a long time to check out. A film reviewer I really like was going on and on and on about how good it is.
Don't.
Aniara? Anyara? It's God, it's awful.
No, this is spelled Anyara.
Aniara.
Okay.
Yeah, it has a really cool poster. Neat concept. Basically, a cruise ship full of people. A space version of a cruise ship. Takes off. It's supposed to go to Mars. Earth is donezo, and so all the people are getting shipped off and going over to the new planet. And something happens with the ship, and it starts just floating off into space. and
no.
there's this question mark of will it ever be able to go back? Um, and it really does feel like it's a bunch of people in a shopping mall. There's a lot of like weird little touristy things that they can do. They can, or not shopping malls, more like a cruise ship. There's like, dumb dinners that they've got. There's all these artifices that are set up that all of a sudden this is a entire society and they start to like form their own cults and they start to, sometimes they're mad at each other. Sometimes they're obsessed with different trends. They start to do different wardrobes and like fun little words that they have and different celebrities out of the people on the ship. But sounds cool. Intolerable.
Alrighty.
Absolutely intolerable Euro sci-fi-ness that was really hard for me to sit through. So
Is this a new movie?
it's a couple years ago.
Okay. I've not even heard of this one.
Yeah. No, it was critics really liked it. I did not. Half star.
Wow.
Damn. Well, my Walter Hill view continues with another 48 hours, which honestly I did not remember was his film. I thought somebody else, directed it.
I knew he directed it, but I've never seen it.
It suffers from what a lot of sequels did in the late 80s, early 90s, where we don't really know how to continue this, so they just put Eddie Murphy back into prison for 5 more years, which was dumb. I thought that's a terrible device.
Mm.
And of course, Nick Nolte's in trouble again with his police chief, but of course now he has to be in more trouble than he was the first film.
Sure.
So you take those story elements out, and it's a pretty good sequel. The action and stuff feels a little more Walter Hill. It's a little more inventive. It's a little more weird. Like there's a shootout in a club, and 2 of the people are in the fog, and their heads like come out of the fog. So it's got more inventive looks than I felt the first one did. Racism has lowered significantly.
Oh, that's exciting.
But
I'm looking at the bright side. Come on, guys.
It's a worthy sequel, but
Okay.
it is like I said, more Walter Hill feeling in its violence and the action that goes on than I felt the first one was, but less strong Eddie Murphy and Nick Nolte, who really carry the first film, and they're good in this one.
Okay.
It was good. I'm glad I watched it.
He didn't write it, I'm guessing.
I don't think so.
Yeah. Paramount Plus?
Yeah.
Another 48 hours? Yeah.
Whenever you get to the end of a movie on any of those streaming things, they recommend coming out, you should watch next. So I got to the end of another 48 hours, said, you know what you should watch next? 48 hours.
Oh, sure. Just a repeat. I'm in a circle.
I watched a movie I accidentally watched a movie that was on the Oscar list, I guess,
Oh.
with American Fiction.
You accidentally watched it.
Well, I try to avoid the Oscar movies, quite honestly.
Oh my gosh.
I've heard good things about this one, though.
It stars Jeffrey Wright, who
Yeah.
is just an amazing actor, and it's lovely to see him in a starring role.
Mhm.
And I liked it very much.
Cool.
But I think I liked it very much because it's kind of mean-spirited, poking fun at wokeism and how that's probably not serving the people that they're trying to serve very well. You saw this, right, Vanessa?
I did, yeah.
Did you not like it?
There were several moments in the film that I laughed out loud. I think that Jeffrey Wright was great. I love the guy who plays his brother.
Yes.
Was in the 5-6 seasons I watched of This Is Us. So
okay.
I've seen a lot of his performance before, and I thought he was great. But it felt really weird tonally. Like it just felt like we're gonna spend a bunch of time doing this like woke like author stuff that's really fun and interesting, and then we're gonna go and do a bunch of family drama and some romance drama, and then it felt like the ending was really weird.
The
like
ending.
they didn't know quite what they wanted, or they knew what they wanted and they just weren't pulling it off. I don't know.
The ending was not as satisfying as the rest of the movie for me. Eric, if you're not familiar with the storyline in this, Jeffrey Wright plays a very serious literature author who is Black, and he's getting a little fed up with these Black authors who are keeping it real, and their books with misspellings and all of this stuff, and growing up poor, black, and all this. These are all being taken much more seriously than his writing, which he feels is head and
Better.
shoulders above. And from the glimpses we see of the other people's writings, it does seem that his writing is much better. But because he is a successful black man, he's not being given any attention. And so he, after going through a couple of funny scenes, he decides he's going to sit down and write a book called My Pathology. And then you see the cursor back up and it becomes My Pathology. And then he just goes to town on it. But he realizes once he's starting to get noticed that he's kind of screwed himself. And so he's trying to get out of the big deals that are starting to happen. But everything he does to make himself more extreme, of course, makes him more
popular,
accessible to the crowds.
Yeah, at one point he really is mad about the whole situation. So he says he won't publish the book unless they retitle it as Fuck.
Fuck.
And the publishers are like, we can't put that out. And he's like, well, I'm going to pull the deal. So they, of course, put it out as Fuck. And everybody loves it.
I say, there's a lot of books with that title now, though.
I love that they're worried because they're like, well, that's really going to screw up our end cap sales. But and of course his agent knows he's in on the grift, and he's trying to help him. He's like, look, this is what you wanted, isn't it? And he's doing everything he can to sabotage himself now. And of course, everything he does makes him more appealing.
Yeah. And I just don't understand how like the romantic thing works with this, and how, I get that there's like this sort of pivot in there where he needs money. So his mother is sick with needs to be put in a home. She's got dementia or Alzheimer's or something along those lines. And that feels like enough. But then they're also like, and then this tragedy. And then this tragedy. Oh, and then your backstory is also that your father was like a dickbag. Yeah. And then you find out that he was an even bigger dickbag than you thought. And there's just like so many weird, just like extra like anchors where they're like, man, this guy's life is, why is it getting so rough? They could have just had the mom story and then him dating a woman and it doesn't quite work out, but that doesn't seem to have any reason to be in there. So I don't know.
Part of that felt like, who's the guy who directed, he just had a film out, he directed, oh God, what's the wine movie?
Sideways?
Sideways, and he just had The Holdovers, I think it was called. Mm-hmm. It felt like a movie that he would direct. Yeah. It had that kind of feeling with it.
It does have that feeling, yeah.
And I think that's where the relationship stuff comes from.
Yeah, it feels like an adaptation of a book, which I don't know if it is. It is an adaptation of something.
Is it? I didn't know that.
That's what it won the Oscar for.
Didn't you know that?
Oh, right. Well, that's why I say accidentally is, whenever I see any kind of movie about an author, I'm like, oh, I'll check that out. And and I ended up liking this a lot, and then I saw that it was for best screenplay or something like that?
Yeah, best adapted screenplay.
Okay, so it was an adaptation.
Yeah. I think.
Well, then I will say this. Your mileage may vary on this, but I enjoyed American fiction quite a bit. But that's because I love Black authors in general.
Yes.
Sure.
You should look at the camera when you say that, Kelly.
Which is the joke of the movie.
Oh, God, it's me. Sorry.
See, now these are the good camera moments, though. If that was just audio.
Nice of you to join us, Vanessa.
You know what? 3.5 hours of sleep. And that's a lot. All right. So I watched 2 seasons. Look, I am watching like whole series in my time because I have so many hours to fill and I do not have free hands. So I can't and I can't stand up without a baby crying. So I watched all of Another Life on Netflix, which I don't know if either of you've seen. It's a series that stars Katie Sackhoff from Battlestar Galactica. The concept is a very well-trodden sci-fi trope of, something lands on Earth. They know that it came from a signal somewhere off in space. They want to know more about this object that landed on Earth, so they send a spaceship often to follow that signal. So it's this sort of parallel story between the husband character who is down on Earth. He's a scientist and he's trying to work out what this giant structure is that fell down and see if he can communicate with it. Weird. Sounds like something else that exists. And the wife who's off in a this sort of amazing huge spaceship that she has a crew through, and they're all in soma. They're all like asleep, and they wake up and there's something wrong with the ship. They got up early, and then each episode seems to be, this episode is like Predator. This episode is like, just I don't, you name it, they've done it.
Weird.
I'd seen the first season previously, and I knew a second season had come out, and I hadn't gotten around to it, so I rewatched season 1 because I liked it, even in a stupid, like, this is very tropey way. And it was still really fun. There's a lot of really interesting moments in season 1. And then season 2 is just kind of awful. But that's okay because it's over, and they will not do a season 3. And basically, it suffered from a COVID problem. So partway into season 2, everyone just keeps dying, like all the main characters. And you're like, why are these 2 main characters dead? That's weird. It's almost like they're dying off screen. You're like, what is happening? And I think they lost the contracts with a bunch of their actors, or they went on to do other things once COVID settled down. So once I figured that out, I was like, okay, well, at least we have 3 of the original cast still here. That's cool. And I don't know, it's a fun ride, but I don't know.
I've not even heard of this show.
No, neither have I.
It's, you know what? Out of all the sci-fi shows out there that are kind of garbagey, this is one of the better garbage ones.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was recently looking through like those lists that come out every whenever that say all these shows that have been canceled. And we're going through, it's like, where are all these shows?
Right.
Yeah.
It's not like, it's not like 30 years ago or whatever where it's 4 networks.
Right.
Totally. Yeah.
But
Another Life.
Another Life.
Netflix.
Yeah.
Well, I got a very interesting one from Grindhouse releasing, Impulse, starring William Shatner.
Oh, no.
Mid 70s William Shatner playing a psychotic killer.
Oh, okay. That's much better.
It's so much fun to watch. The movie's fine.
Yeah.
But Shatner has like Nicolas Cage level Shatner moments where he's just losing his shit. And he does these great little bits where he goes from being a complete asshole to being really nice and shifting his acting moments midstream fairly well, actually. So it's the story of a guy who had I don't think it was his father. I think his mom was having an affair, and he ends up killing the guy when he's a little kid, and grows up, and of course has distorted relationships with the women he's with. Kills a lot of them. It's so bizarre. It's really well done. It's another one of those weird ones. Like, I mean, Grindhouse puts out very few films, and they're usually what that name suggests. So this is a little closer to something I would have expected from Severin or Vinegar, but still worth watching. If you're a William Shatner fan at all, it is definitely worth seeing.
That sounds incredible. I mean, once you said, because he's in a lot of like absolute garbage from, I don't know, the 90s onwards. But yeah, 70s Shatner is where it's at.
Yeah. Yep. This was
60s
probably
and 70s.
before, I'm guessing he'd done with Star Trek, maybe even done with the animated series. And it's like, sure, I'll do this.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's got to be then before the Star Trek motion picture.
And probably before TJ Hooker, too.
Yeah,
way
TJ Hooker's
before
was,
that.
Yeah, it was in the early 80s.
Yeah.
But
So
motion
fun.
picture was 79, I think. So,
Probably 76, 77.
yeah.
Oh,
Impulse.
fun.
And you own this, so it's
Yes.
probably not streaming.
Hard to say. I don't know what Grindhouse's
Right.
stuff is like.
Well, I will look for that one for sure.
Yeah.
All right, guys, how about we take a little break? And then when we come back, we are going to be going back to our regularly scheduled program, which is talking about a subgenre. And that subgenre was Hauntings.
Yay.
Ooh.
Injustice makes him boil, evil makes him burn, and then Danny Ketch becomes the Ghost Rider. Flameglow Ghost Rider, blaze and vengeance, ride in the name of justice. With whip chains, hidden projectiles, and with flaming discs and a ghost fire gun, they destroy scum like Zarathos and Skinner. If evil makes you burn, ride with new Flameglow Ghost Rider, defender of the innocent. Cycles come with figures, other figures sold separately.
Hello?
Let's see who's called the Strange Eons radio hotline.
Hey, folks, it's Mike DeBronza, and I'm just calling to say, long live the king. Godzilla has won an Oscar. What a time it is, as a young Kelly Young may have said once or twice to me in the last few weeks. It's just amazing, and it's awesome, and it just needed to be said. Hope you guys are doing good.
If you'd like to call the Strange Eons radio hotline, dial 253-237-4266.
Nobody hangs up on me.
All right, gang, we are back and we are talking Hauntings. Normally when we do this, I put the timer in front of each of us so we can see how much time we have left. But now that we have the camera going, I think I'm going to point it at the camera and you'll just be surprised when it goes.
Challenge accepted.
So the topic this week is Hauntings, and I will start first since it was my topic.
Excellent.
I'm putting 10 minutes on the buzzer. And I am talking about the classic 1988 cinematic gem, Death Spa.
Michael? Michael?
Killing yourself isn't so hard, really.
Come to me, I need you. Jump, jump, jump!
Death Spa. Welcome to the health club where you'll sweat blood.
Never work without a spotter, Freddie. Weight falls on your chest and you can really get squashed.
It's the place for a killer workout. An unquiet spirit reaches out from beyond the grave.
Welcome to my party.
For revenge.
I will destroy this place. And I'll kill them all. Unless you do as I say.
Death Spa, an exercise in terror.
A fantastic weight reduction program. People get so thin they disappear.
Ah, yes, I've seen this one.
I have not seen this one.
I'm not sure you need to run out and see this one, Vanessa.
Spa not worth visiting.
There's one scene in here that is worth the viewing, and it happens right at the beginning. So.
Mm-hmm.
This is from 1988. It has, I could find no budget information. I could find no box office information. There's not even a Rotten Tomatoes critics.
There you go.
But the audience has given it 36%.
Excellent.
No, that actually means bad.
Oh, sorry.
Right. Directed by Michael Fisher, who has 12 credits, including My Mom's a Werewolf, Delta Heat, and White Screech. Written by James Bartroff and Mitch Paradise.
What a name.
That was an ampersand between their names, which means they are a writing team. They've written episodes of What's Happening Now, Jake and the Fat Man, and Remington Steele.
Okay.
Yep. It stars William Buemiller, who has 64 credits, including, it's mostly TV stuff. It's Mork and Mindy, Wings, L.A. Law, The Nanny, stuff like that. Brenda Baca, who has 66 credits. She was in Demon Knight, Under Siege 2, LA Confidential, and 18 episodes of American Gothic, which is the first place I saw her in. She is stunningly gorgeous. She is beautiful. It also stars Merritt Butrick, who has 30 credits, including Shy People, Fright Night Part 2, and Chain Letter. He died 1 year after this movie was made.
Oh, wow. What a legacy.
Yes. Despa. So, after closing hours in the Starbody Health Spa in Los Angeles, a woman, Laura, is mysteriously locked inside the sauna, which somehow fills with chlorine gas, burning her skin and eyes, nearly killing her. Her boyfriend, Michael, the club owner, who we are told in some pretty ridiculous exposition that his wife, Catherine, committed suicide the previous year, he is notified and rushes to the hospital. So what you guys need to know about this club is that it features a state-of-the-art computer system which controls its various workout machines and other features, and it was created by David, who was Catherine's twin brother. Catherine was the woman who committed suicide, who was married to the owner, Michael.
I'm going to need a picture.
Who is the boyfriend of Laura, who was burned with the chlorine gas.
No.
Okay. So police detectives Stone and Fletcher arrive at the spot to investigate Laura's accident. And while they are there, another club client is nearly injured when the bolts holding the pool's diving board suddenly break loose. Michael, the club owner, remember, he's very angry over this, and he asks David, the guy who runs the computer stuff, what the hell is going on with his system? And I'm like, as if the bolts were somehow controlled by this computer program. Okay. Later, a man is brutally killed when a weightlifting machine malfunctions.
Oh, my God.
It tears him apart at the limbs, which is pretty fucking great. He's on one of these kind of butterfly machine things, and it keeps pushing the arms back, and people are trying to hold it, and then his arms just get ripped off. And
oh, my God.
It's fantastic.
Wow.
And then another patron is injured, and he's brutally killed, or she is brutally killed in the locker room by a spear.
Sure.
Yeah.
Wait.
You got that, did you? Why is there a spear in the locker room?
Yes, questions.
Good question, Vanessa. Robots destroy her. Michael brings Laura, the girl who was injured, still wearing bandages over her injured eyes, to the spa to pick up the stuff she'd left in the locker the night she was injured. And then he just lets her wander the place blind and make her way to the locker, which is kind of funny because inside the locker is the woman killed by the spear, but Laura's got bandages over her eyes.
She has no clue.
She can't see it.
I love her commitment to working out.
Yes. So, troubled by nightmares and visions of Catherine, his suicided wife, Michael visits Dr. Lido More, who's a parapsychologist, and he wants answers regarding the strange goings-ons at the club. Going-ons or goings-on? What would that be? Going-ons. Goings-on, I believe.
Shit going down.
Right. So More gets an object owned by Catherine and starts telling Michael details about Catherine's life, including her paralysis after a traumatic childbirth in which the infant died, and her depression over that, and jealousy of Michael, and apparent suicide by lighting herself on fire in her wheelchair.
Oh, Jesus.
Okay. So... Okay.
So Michael, he doesn't quite believe that More is doing all of this psychic stuff because he's like, you could have gotten all that information from newspaper articles about Catherine's death.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, meanwhile, there are these two chicks who work out at the club who are really hot and they want to fuck Michael very bad. And one of them backstabs the other because she thinks she's being invited down to the basement to fuck Michael. So she's like, I'll see you later. I have stuff that I have to do. However, once she gets down there, she is doused with acid somehow from a pipe. And then, but we see that there is an apparition of Catherine watching her.
Ooh.
The dead wife, girlfriend.
Yeah.
Also, meanwhile, David, who is Catherine's twin brother, remember, he visits the recuperating Laura, who's still wearing the eye patches, rendering her unable to see, while she is alone at Michael's house. And while he's there, he's acting very sinister, and we're all starting to think that he is probably the killer dressed up as his sister. Do you see?
Psycho.
Also, Dr. Morey arrives at the spa pretending to be an insurance investigator and finds Linda in the basement, her flesh dissolved and barely alive. He is then confronted by an apparition of Catherine, who brutally murders him.
Ooh.
There's also
Oh my
a
God.
very weird subplot going on where someone else is trying to take over the club, these buyers, right? And all of this stuff winds together in a very poor, full story that you're very unsatisfied with. The film ends in a Mardi Gras party where Michael is instructing people to keep David, who runs the system, to keep David away from the computers because he could really ruin things up if he shows up tonight. Will David show up as a cross-dressing woman and start killing people in the club?
Ooh.
Oh, very psycho.
Will Catherine, the dead woman, kidnap Laura and try to kill her using the club's state-of-the-art tanning bed?
Yes.
And will we find out that, yes, it's David, but it's the ghost of his sister possessing him and using telepathic powers to commit the murders?
Excellent.
I mean, that one does seem rather specific, so...
Yeah.
We could probably count on that being the answer.
Yeah.
This movie is quite bad, available for free on Shudder. The biggest crime is not the stupid story or lackluster acting, but the fact that they have the stunning Brenda Bach in this flick, one of the most beautiful women in the world, with her face half covered through the entire fucking movie, so you can't see how pretty she is.
That is rough.
Oh, it's rough. The best part, Vanessa, is at the beginning when you see the neon sign for the Starbody Health Spa.
Yeah.
It starts to flicker out and everything, and so it just leaves the word Death Spa.
Brilliant.
Very good.
Yeah.
That's why it's named that.
Tagline, you'll sweat blood.
God.
Trivia. This film had to be extensively cut in order to avoid an X rating from the MPAA.
Yeah.
Not because of the gore. The extras in the nude shower scene were obtained from a porn casting agency.
Oh, okay.
This is why they had to avoid. They had to cut things out. A lot of naked women wandering around in this movie. And finally, an earlier draft of the script had a red herring janitor character living in the basement of the health spa. I guarantee you, some producer said, there's already a lot going on in this movie, you guys. And it's going to be really hard to follow. Maybe we take this plot out. My movie was Death Spa. It has a haunting in it. It has a person being haunted and possessed. I feel like I win.
Wait a minute. I didn't know that this was about the most hauntings in a movie.
I'm just saying, this was the most haunted I've ever seen.
Sure.
It's,
I got a laundry list of films for you to
How'd I
watch.
do?
Then.
Man.
Oh,
Should we let
right on the
should
buzzer.
we let it buzz for everybody so they can hear how loud it actually is in person?
Pretty...
We'll see if that translates.
Oh, you're just going to put in that basketball buzzer again,
yes.
aren't you?
Oh my God, it's so loud.
Hey, I got my headphones in, thankfully. Well, I guess that means it is my turn
Yeah.
for a not as haunted, but a pretty well haunted. The haunting it does have is a good haunting movie.
Sure.
Even the Wind is Afraid. Which is also known as Hasta el viento tiene miedo, which is also known as The Wind of Fear from 1968.
Oh,
nice.
I'm not familiar.
Yeah, I had never heard of this before, but I love the title. And I was like, Eric has definitely done this. He had not. So
that's fair. I can see why you would go to me. It's a possibility.
I was like, it's gotta be Giallo, but it is not. It's actually from Mexico.
Cool.
It's a pretty well-known director, pretty well-known film out there. Rotten Tomatoes score of 100% 100% from the audience, unknown from critics. I think that honestly, like, not that many people had seen this. There was very little info I could get, including budget or box office. It just, this film has not been seen a lot, and I'll get into that a little bit more later. Written and directed by Carlos Enrique Tabuedo, who has 86 writing credits and 19 directing credits, including Poison for the Fairies, Darker Than Night, and La Tellerana, which is a series. Starring Marga Lopez as the headmistress Bernarda. She has 107 credits, including Salon Mexico, La Integra, and Soledad. Also starring Maricruz Oliver, who plays Lucia, the only other teacher at the school. 65 credits, stuff that I don't know anything about. And Alicia Bonnet, who is kind of the lead school girl in this. 49 credits. Also stuff that I have never heard of before. So if you're curious, look it up. Plot. Claudia, a student at a female boarding school, wakes up in bed to feet dangling above her, as if somebody had hung themselves above her bed. The wind blows and opens the shutters, and we discover that this is her recurring nightmare of a dark figure in the tower on the school grounds. A visiting doctor believes that she's having a nervous breakdown and insists on her getting rest, but the headmistress, Bernarda, insists she gets back to class in like 30 minutes. The kindly teacher, Lucia, asks for Claudia to have a few days off, but Bernarda just absolutely refuses because she is a witch, as every girl calls her repeatedly in this film. She's no good. Claudia's friends are a group of fun-loving girls who are often in trouble and hate the headmistress. They discover the tower, which is always locked, is actually unlocked. And Claudia leads them in, describing her dream and what each thing would look like inside. They'd never been inside the tower before. They go upstairs, and just as she says, it is what it looks like. However, they're caught by the headmistress, who punishes the girls by forcing them to remain on campus for their vacation. Lucia, stays around while they're punished and have to stay there during their school vacation. Lucia warns the headmistress that maybe this is a bad idea because of a previous incident that resulted in a tragedy that had a very similar setup to this one, but is ignored. And the girls are not only forced to not get to have their vacation, but they have to take an intensive class while they're there. So one of the girls discovers, though, a photograph of some girl and shows it to Claudia, who says, "Hey, that's the girl I've been seeing in my dream." And then show it to Lucia, who says, "Oh, that was Andrea, a girl who was here a few years ago and committed suicide in that very tower." Yes. So the ghost activity continues. Claudia finds she's being called each night, and eventually she follows the voice and is led to the top of the tower. Weird. She asks Andrea how she can help her because she feels like she's being called. And for some reason, she's pushed out the top of the tower to her death below, which is weird because everybody says Andrea was a really nice girl. While she is wrapped up and put into this kind of morgue-ish looking space, but with candles everywhere and covered in black, Bernarda goes in to apologize to her and mourn when suddenly Claudia's hand reaches out. Claudia's awake. And when a doctor comes by to see what's going on, says they must have all been confused. She's not dead. She was just unconscious. And it's weird. She has no injuries from this fall, which is from like 9-10 stories up. It's a tall tower. Once back, Claudia no longer acts like Claudia. In fact, she is suddenly great at the piano, which Andrea was good at. She's really smart in class, which was Andrea's kind of MO. And she's aware of things that happened on campus many years ago. Lucia begins to realize that this is not Claudia, but Andrea, who is back in Claudia's body. From this point on, we get this sort of really interesting, sinister movie where clearly Andrea's back out for revenge, and we're kind of figuring out why she is ready to kill probably Bernarda, maybe just possibly for something that may or may not have happened. at this point, I think it really wasn't a scary film to me until she takes over Claudia's body, because they do all this really great stuff with lighting and shadows. When she's walking along, sometimes it's the shadow of the other girl who had really long straight hair, and Claudia always has her hair up in this ponytail. You also get this double shadowing effect often where it's implied that there's duplicity. And sometimes when she's in rooms doing weird shit, like playing the piano in the middle of the night for no reason, or I don't know, in the tower with some rope in her hand, you don't see her at all. You just see the hands, or you just see pieces of her. Really beautifully shot. This reminded me a lot of Umbrellas of Cherbourg. Just powerful popping colors, great shot decisions. This movie is absolutely gorgeous, and it is a crime that there's not a remaster of it, because if you watch it in its current state, the audio needs a lot of love. It pops in and out in quality. Really rough. The subtitles need some love as well. There are moments where there are just no subtitles. I was like, I don't know what's going on, but I'm sure it's good. It really, though, is so beautiful. I could see this doing really, really well if somebody just took some time with it. Also, the girls are gorgeous. I mean, fucking stunning, gorgeous. You are in full, I know it's not European, but it feels like it has that beautiful European poppy sense from the 60s. Absolutely gorgeous costumes all the way around. Little bit of trivia about this. It was first released in theaters in Mexico in 1968. It was not released in the United States until it had Blu-ray format in 2020.
Wow.
Yeah. A remake, also titled Hasta el viento tiene miedo, was released in 2007. The remake received negative critical reception, while also receiving a more favorable reaction from the general public. Available on Tubi and Blu-ray. And that's my film.
Wow.
So you say there's a Blu-ray version of this, and the audio is that bad?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just
it's
the
too
general
bad.
release by
It's just it just feels like
Paramount or something.
exactly. I'm not sure who put it out. I just know that it is available. I watched the version on Tubi, and I'd also watched a critic reviewing it on YouTube, and he had also mentioned the quality of the audio. So I'm pretty sure this is a universal issue, and it is just really too bad, because this has all the hallmarks of a great classic horror film.
Almost sounds like the way you describe it, like Criterion or somebody should be.
Yeah, no, it has I could see Criterion putting it out for sure.
So how did you decide on this movie?
I was trying to look up haunting ghost movies, and I put in, I think, the word underrated in a Google search, and a list popped up, and this was on it, and it just sounded kind of interesting. So I'd never heard of it before. And I was like, you don't come across a Mexican horror movies from that era very often. And this director is apparently very well known and renowned during that time. So I was like, fuck it. Let's check it out.
Man,
nice. Well done.
I might watch that tonight.
Yeah, I should.
Excellent job on this.
Oh.
I got a minute left. I'm going to buzz this.
Wow.
Take that. I beat the timer.
Take that timer.
Timer. Screw you and your ability to make seconds and minutes move.
Wow, that's a cool timer.
Eric, you ready?
Yeah.
10 minutes.
Okay, so I talked about what is definitely the highest rated film I've talked about in a very long time. A24's The Green Knight.
Tell me a tale of yourself, so that I might know thee.
I have none to tell.
Yet. You have none to tell yet.
I fear I'm not meant for greatness.
We all fear, but fear can be a gift.
Do not waste this.
Oh, man.
From 2021 with an 89 Rotten Tomatoes from critics and 50 from the crowd.
Whoa.
Like, well, you guys got it wrong this time.
Jeez Louise.
Budget of 15 million, a box office of 18.8, and it's on, I believe it's on Max right now and Amazon, and it's on a lot of places. I mean, it's 824. Directed by David Lowery, who is best known for Cinema Toast. No, not. He also directed A Ghost Story, Ain't Them Bodies Saints, and Pete's Dragon.
Yeah.
And apparently an executive producer for some unusual films like We're All Going to the World's Fair, which usually means, he put up the money for it. So that's kind of cool. And written by David Lowery, who wrote basically everything he directed. And the Gawain poet as well was cited as the original writer.
Whoa.
Oh, well, all right. Starring Dev Patel, who you might know from the upcoming Monkey Man, Lion, The Last Airbender, that nobody liked, Slumdog Millionaire, Alicia Vikander, who's in Beckett, Earthquake Bird, played I think the most recent Lara Croft Tomb Raider, Joel Edgerton, The Gift, It Comes at Night, Zero Dark 30, Warrior, Star Wars Episodes 2 and 3, so a shit ton of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And solid opening scene with Sir Gawain sitting and starting to explain what's going to happen, and then like his head bursts into flames, and sitting there with signaling the start of the legend. And he appears to have then woken up in a house of ill repute.
No,
because he's not quite a knight yet. When I first was watching, going, is he going home to his wife or something? No, he's going home to his mother. Said he lies and said he's been at church all night, which of course she doesn't remotely believe. And she then appears to contact the king mentally. They don't ever call him by the name you would expect. It's the king and the queen. Asks that he play the Christmas game for her. And so the idea is that then the knights have to tell a tale. Well, he has no tale to tell at this point that's worthy of a knight. So while they're discussing, his mother is casting a summoning spell. And during the celebration of the round table, the Green Knight shows up. Looking awesome. The effects in this are cool as hell. I believe he's largely practical. It looks great. And the idea is that he's going to get the Green Knight to challenge her son. Now, the challenge, the son does not listen to very closely, because the challenge of the son is that they can battle, and whoever wins gets rewards, but that's not really the important part. The important part is whatever wound he gives to the Green Knight, the year following on Christmas Day, he will get the same wound back. Which obviously he did not listen to because he cuts off the Green Knight's head.
Oops.
Like,
bad move.
Excuse me, sir. This could have gone so much easier for you. But he actually used the King's Sword. They don't call it Excalibur, but they make a big deal out of the sword when it's presented to him. It looks magnificent. So the following scene is a puppet rendition of the story of the Green Knight, and it goes through a couple scenes where it goes to other stuff and goes back to the puppets, ending with what is foretold for him to happen in a year. The scene movie sort of moves forward basically to the next year. King summons him to let him know you're nearing your 1-year anniversary and you must travel to, I think it's the Sixth Kingdom or something like that it's called. Then basically the rest of the movie is him journeying to there. There's a large portion of it where he runs into, forgot to say his last name, Barry Keoghan, the star of Saltburn. Has a big part in there as one of the 3 robbers that runs into him in the journey, where he yet again manages to not really listen to the people that are talking to him. So it does not go well for him on the way there. He gets his axe stolen, and he's got a variety of other things. That the Green Knight's axe was given to him to carry. He gets that stolen. He has to get it back. There's strange edits which work really well. On first is a shot of him when he's tied up by the three robbers, where it looks like he's been left and he's now dead. But then the screen rotates back and shows basically the idea is if you don't get out of this trap, this is where you're going to be. And that motivates him to get out of the binds, how he's tied up. Freaking amazing movie, I thought. I really liked that. There's a neat abandoned cottage he goes through where he's offered a sash or something that will protect him from any injuries, which plays very heavily in the ending of his story. It's not exactly the original story in a lot of ways, but it's a neat telling of it. And I got to say, I think the 50% is ridiculously low. Maybe it's just everybody that saw it was Arthurian legend people who said, well, that is, well, actually, and, then condemned it. But there's, Larry said he was inspired by films like Willow and Excalibur to fantasize it up a little bit more, to make it a little bit more, frankly, more fun. He originally didn't intend for Morgan Le Fay to be his mother, but that's who ended up being his mother. That's why she's able to cast the spells. So went through some weird rewriting. This guy sounds like an artiste. Like you hear, just went out of my head. Director of Oppenheimer and
Christopher Nolan.
There are interviews with Christopher Nolan, and he's like weird dude, very weird. Doesn't own a cell phone. Doesn't do any of this stuff. He's very unusual. This guy, I wouldn't be surprised if he's similar, because some of his interviews and stuff are very much art leaning. The film was originally shot with a very explicit and definitive ending, but he didn't want that. So it was re-edited to have a little bit more of an ambiguous ending. So you're not entirely sure if the Green Knight kills him or not. It's kind of set up to where I lean a little bit towards not, but at the same time, it would very easily be the other way around. Oh, there's my answer. No digital visual effects were used in creating the Green Knight during the round table scene. He wanted that in order to give the character that real presence that we all love of practical effects, where this giant creature is in this room. And it works really well. Beautiful set design. Holy shit, the round table room is just fantastic looking. Included hand-painted matte paintings to extend the set. He didn't use any green screen for that. He made it, and it looks fantastic. This kind of leaned back to him wanting to lean to those Willows and stuff, the 80s and 90s films, where you wouldn't have had the digital effects to do that. The constraints forced the cinematographer, Jade Healy, to plan the lighting, to build in the round table scene way ahead of time. So they went into set knowing exactly how to set up the lights for it. It's set in medieval Britain, but the spelling used throughout the Green Knight's letter is written in this one. Idiots on IMDb saying, this is what's wrong with the movie. The film is set in medieval Britain, but the spelling used throughout the Green Knight's letter is written in U.S. English. Not only that, but the characters talk about doing things on Christmas, which is used only in America. English speakers refer to at Christmas or on Christmas Day.
Oh my God.
Whilst it's true to say that the modern English idiom is no more correct for the period, it's peculiar that the director should go to the trouble of using European actors and settings and then to be so careless about inserting Americanisms.
Oh my God.
And yet all those European actors didn't say a fucking thing about it. So I'm just guessing this guy got his head in. And I was censored by the buzzer. But one last note, COVID-19 delayed the release of the film. The director took that time to re-edit the movie over 6 months to make it more to what he wanted to be. And it ended up with a small theatrical release, but not a lot, which is probably why it kind of disappeared.
I have a memory of Vanessa not liking this film because it didn't follow Arthurian legends.
No, I mean, I saw this movie in theaters. It's weird. I don't remember what my initial reaction was, but I would love to rewatch it because I think I would. I don't know. I think I'd enjoy it. There's like a couple of scenes in there that I think I was a little like, I don't care about this that much. But there's a lot of like time spent with that wife-husband situation or whatever. And I was like,
the castle
yeah,
that
the
he stays in. Yeah.
castle. And I was like, I do not want to keep spending time in here. But the overall idea is really strong. And I remember the Green Knight looking absolutely incredible. I would not have given it a 50%, even if I was irritated. I would have been like, well, still like, I don't know, 75 to 80.
Yeah. Even if you didn't like the story base and stuff, it's still a very well made film.
Yeah, no, there's no way it could be based off Green Knight because like the original Green Knight is like, it's not a very long
Well, it's because
story.
it said at Christmas. That was the problem.
My God. It's just intolerable because a lot of people who are somebody who studied way too much literature, like, yeah, at that era, they also mostly spoke like French, I'm pretty sure. So it's
Probably,
like,
yes.
even being in any form of English, it would have been wrong. And if it was the English, our current English, that would still be wrong because it should have been the Germanic version of English at that point. So it's like, you guys don't fucking start a fight you can't finish, all right? Don't bring a book to a poet.
Don't bring a the to a thou.
Yeah, exactly. Fucking stupid, man. Get over yourself.
So this is streaming where, Eric?
Most play. It's fairly accessible. I think it's on Max.
I guess I got to give this another chance because I only made it about 20 minutes into the movie. I was like, this movie is really slow.
It is still an 824 film, so it is.
It can't be any worse than like Lamb. Lamb was god awful. That was a slow fucking film.
I never bothered because of your review of it.
Yeah,
some great shots of sheep. Great shots of sheep.
So if you're so inclined.
Ew.
I have a moment that is a peek behind the curtain because does anybody know who's got the next selection?
I was just thinking about that while I was talking.
Oh my God.
While I was talking about the Green Knight, I'm going, oh fuck, who's next?
If it's me, then I know what my selection is.
It's you.
I think it is you then.
Oh, okay, great.
It is you.
It's me, regardless, I guess. So I had a friend of mine who listens to the show who had a suggestion. We've talked about him before, Tom, who said, hey, have you guys ever done the topic of Mars, like set in or somehow surrounding the place known as Mars? And we had not done that. So I would love to push that forward.
Mars movies.
Sounds good.
Mars movies.
Thank you for saving us at the very end of this episode.
That's what I'm here for.
Oh, hey.
Oh, you know what? And I think I do remember I've talked about this before, but I do want to say thank you so much to my mom who does not know how to buy us a pizza, but she does know how to show up in my house and give me a $20 bill and say, bring this to the guys. So thank you, Mom, for the donation. We really appreciate it. And anyone else who wants to donate monetarily or in other ways, we've got the value for value system.
And
yeah. Very, thanks, Mom. That is very much appreciated.
For letting me know that somebody actually uses the transcript that I spend time putting together. So thank you.
And she gives me complaints that I often forget to pass along. So anyone else who uses the transcripts and is irritated, I am sorry. I am just message Eric directly. Don't give it to me to tell to him.
Nah, I'm good. Thanks. Auto-generated.
Vanessa mentioned the value for value system, which is basically if you get some kind of value out of this, turn around and give it back. It doesn't have to be money, and it could be, I get $1 worth of value out of this, and we'll take $1. But we also take you liking and sharing posts and pushing the bandwidth out there. When you make a comment on the YouTube videos, apparently that adjusts the algorithm heavily. Just just a comment. So all of that stuff is really appreciated.
Mm-hmm.
Leaving a review for us on whatever your podcatcher is.
It's Been a while since we've gotten some reviews, so jump in there. Give us some good ones. We can bring back the old give us a 5-star and challenge me to a movie. It's
Right.
been a long time since I've gotten one of those.
Yeah, and as we saw earlier in this episode, you can suggest movies to us, and depending on the value we see, then we may actually go ahead and do it. So, but honestly, it's a lot of fun when that happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, guys. So you can also call and leave us a message on the Strange Eons Radio hotline, which is 253-237-4266. You can talk with like-minded individuals on the Strange Eons Radio Talk page on Facebook. And I think that's everything.
Sounds good.
Yeah, so I guess we'll see you next Thursday. Damn
7
it.
short days. Thanks, Vanessa.
You're
Jeez.
welcome.
God, you got a filthy mind.
I'm just sitting in I'm not, something about being in this spot really changes everything for me.
Yeah, you're pointing right at the camera, so.
All right.
All right, thanks, guys. We'll see you in 7 short days.
Thank you.
Bye.
Transportation and other considerations for Strange Eons Radio, produced by Pan Am Airlines. When you think of traveling, think of Pan Am. You can't beat the experience. Guests of Strange Eons Radio stay at Econo Lodge Everett. It's an easy stop on the road, you know what we mean. Strange Eons Radio is recorded live in front of a studio audience. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider leaving us a positive review on your favorite podcast app. Sit, Ubu, sit.
A movie about family loneliness and a man with a 4-foot mouth.